Liu Feng had no choice because he wanted to save his sister. He saw two mops breaking off the handle of one. He stuck it between the door handles so that the monsters could not enter the room and moved the chest of drawers. After searching the room, he found another brush handle, a knife, electrical tape, a gasoline can, and a box. Thanks to the reconstruction, he decided to transform all this into a weapon and protection from monsters. While Liu Feng was busy reconstructing the items he found in the CCTV room, the same Dr. Li who treated his little sister burst through the door, but at that moment she wanted to eat him by attacking him from behind. That very moment, he sensed danger, turned around and delivered a precise blow with his new weapon directly to her head, first piercing her, and then, thanks to a gasoline can, setting her on fire. He spent 100 points to reconstruct the mop, knife, and machine oil into a weapon called the D-rank flame spear. A lighter is attached to the handle of the knife. At high temperature, it can easily cut the flesh of enemy creatures. He also spent another 100 points to transform the food box into a durable plastic armor that should be able to handle the teeth of a zombie. Seeing that his weapon worked, he knew he could handle all those zombies that were crowded at the door. 2 minutes later, he found himself in that room. The path in which the system seemed to him, he saw a hole for dirty things. In an angry voice, he asked the system, "What is it?" To which the system answered him that this is a tunnel. Hospital items are sent from here to the laundry room on the ground floor. There is no other way, only through this tunnel system. Since he had no choice, and he definitely had to save his sister, covering his nose, he jumped into this tunnel passage. Flying down, he lost all his protective armor, landing with a crash in dirty clothes. Having recovered from the fall and raised his head, he saw two military men who were taking his sister somewhere. He picked up the trail of his sister. These were Death Squad soldiers who conveyed to headquarters that the evacuation of targets under guard had begun. One of the soldiers reported to headquarters that this task was quite simple. The target did not offer any resistance. He did not even expect that the legendary mutant would turn out to be an ordinary teenage girl. At that moment, a lieutenant appeared and told the soldiers to beware of shufflers, and also ordered to immediately contact headquarters, since something was definitely wrong here. Liu Feng ran out of the room and shouted his sister's name. The soldiers stopped at the same moment. Someone pulled him back into the room. He was terrified because he did not understand who was holding him. He believed that it was a dead man and his life was about to end. Hearing Liu Feng's scream, the lieutenant immediately ordered her soldiers to search this room, as this could be another threat to their missions. Xin Tong, who heard her brother's voice and realized that the soldiers were coming to kill him, became enraged and began to destroy all the soldiers in her path. The government special operations team knew they had no choice but to destroy her, so they opened fire on her with all their guns. Much to their disappointment, they didn't succeed as she escaped through the air duct, but because they didn't open fire, they attracted a lot of zombies. The lieutenant tried to fight off the zombies using all her skills and the weapons she had with her, but she understood that it was unlikely that her soldiers would be able to get out of there alive if they came into contact with the zombies, so she ordered them to leave immediately. But it was too late. Liu Feng, who was standing behind the wall at that moment, thought that it was all over, because there was a zombie behind him, and some other beast in addition grabbed him. He already wanted to say goodbye to life. That beast turned out to be his acquaintance Chan, who laughed very loudly because he could not restrain himself because of Liu Feng's frightened face. The boy was shocked, but asked him what the devil was near his sister's operating room. What he replied was that I don't know for sure, but the news said that their Heavenly Blessing Union was at war. Someone detonated a bioweapon and now all the people outside have become zombies. Cheng also said that Liu Feng's sister is in a rather strange situation. Since he took her to the basement, and then those soldiers outside took her away, it seems that they came specifically for her. Liu Feng said that they need to get out of here immediately, as there are more zombies, and they are getting closer. But Chang was not going to go anywhere, because he was bitten. Chang said that he knows how well Liu Feng has taken care of his sister these past few months. So he decided to hold the door and told him to go out the backyard straight to his sister and move on with his life. Chang understood that he was on the verge of death, and even at that moment he admired the guy who returned to the hospital to visit his sister. He gave him food, for which his boss scolded him. but it is precisely in such turbulent times that you need to be quick-tempered and decisive. Before Liu Feng could reach the backyard, the system on his mobile phone started talking again. She discovered black blood serum in the vicinity of the exit and invited him to choose a solution. Option A, escape down the stairs from the staff room to leave the underground institute. Survival rate is 90%. Option B, go to the laboratory and find the serum to save your sister. Survival rate is 15%. Completing mission A gives you a combat suit. Upon completion of the mission, B gives a drawing of the shelter. 3 zombies are found within the radius of passage B. The advantages of the area disappear, the owner's battle card becomes inaccessible, it is recommended to refuse to complete the task. Liu Feng, without thinking for a long time, chose option B since he had to save his sister, and no zombies could stop him from doing this. The fight was tough, his weapon reached its breaking point, but it worked. He destroyed 3 zombies in this passage. Thanks to which he reached his destination, the serum was in the laboratory. It was black blood inhibitory serum. Before he could reach the black blood inhibitory serum, his sister jumped out of the ventilation shaft in front of him. Much to his disappointment, she showed up not to reunite with him, but to attack him. But Liu Feng was confident that his sister would not harm him, so he did not run away from her, but grabbed her, hugging her very tightly, and asked her to wake up. After Shin Tong heard her brother's voice, something incomprehensible began to happen to her. Holding her head, she began to scream very loudly. A bright red light poured out of her eyes. Liu Feng could not understand what was happening to his sister. He turned to the system for help, to which it told him that an error had been detected in the algorithm that could not be eliminated. Suggestion for the user to use the serum under pressure. He immediately grabbed the serum under pressure, when suddenly the security system from the speakers began to sound. A warning began to sound that the main sample had been stolen. The institute would self-destruct in 10 minutes. Liu Feng injected the serum directly into his sister's neck, and it helped. She turned back into the same sister he remembered before. The task to save his sister was completed. The sister's mutation was suspended for completing the task. The user was awarded 1,000 points. Before he could rejoice over the salvation of his sister, the system asked him to choose the next quest. First, abandon his sister and run through the entrance to the laundry back to the first floor. The survival rate is 100%. Second, get to the utility room of the Underground Research Institute. Use the blueprints and reconstruct the blast-proof shelter for rescue. The survival rate is 40%. Of course, Liu Feng chose the second option in the hope that the modified doors would be able to withstand the explosion. He took his sister in his arms and ran towards the exit, when suddenly someone's silhouette appeared in the doorway. He froze and saw that the same woman was standing in the doorway, the commander of the squad that was chasing his sister. He suggested that she stop their feud for now. Since the laboratory was about to explode, they both needed to escape. But the squad leader did not seem to hear him and began to tear his clothes. The boy's phone system sounded a warning as she noticed an evolved mutant zombie that had been discovered nearby. She could not determine its location, so she recommended immediate evacuation. Liu Feng said that it is very dangerous here. There are only zombies around. If she wants to squeeze it out, then they must leave here together. When suddenly that same woman, the commander, tore her clothes and showed that she was the very evolved zombie mutant who was about to devour the boy. Liu Feng locked his little sister in the closet and tried to do something to not only save himself, but also protect his little sister. To do this, he decided to use his points to build some kind of weapon and resist this zombie, but the system said that no materials for synthesis were found nearby, and the boy realized that his time had come. That very moment of despair, when he thought that he was about to die, his younger sister came to his aid and with one movement of her hand cut off part of the tentacles of the zombie mutant. Liu Feng was very surprised by the appearance of his sister, because he could not even imagine that he had such incredible power. Sun Tong wanted to deal with this zombie once and for all, but her brother stopped her, saying that they should run away because the building would explode in just 2 minutes. He took his sister in his arms and ran as fast as he could towards the exit. There was a minute left before the explosion. They managed to run out, but they had to hold the door because the zombie was chasing them and wanted to destroy them. Liu Feng knew that they couldn't hold this door for long, as the building was about to explode, so he decided to use his points to create a blast-proof shelter. A second after the brother created a blast-proof shelter, the hospital building exploded. Many of the walking dead on this floor were destroyed. Although the hospital building exploded, many zombies had already managed to get out and infect the city residents. After the cloud of dust and ash cleared, Liu Feng realized that he had not died yet and was still alive. The system congratulated Liu Feng for opening a level 1 shelter. The grocery store was converted into a blast shelter. Post-apocalyptic shelter is open! Liu Feng asked the system why his shelter was so shabby and nothing worked in it, to which the system responded that his shelter was on the first level, and in order for everything to work and be more powerful, he needed to increase the level of the shelter, thereby expanding it. Looking at his sister, he realized that she was in a deplorable state, and he must do whatever it took to heal her. After exploring the shelter for 10 minutes, he decided to fix the computer, spending 50 points on it in order to see what was going on in the world. The system upgraded the computer and connected it to the network. But Liu Feng was most concerned about his sister's condition, so he asked the system what position his sister occupied in the system. To which I received the answer that the new serum temporarily slowed down the hybridization of the black blood virus and the microchip gene. If there is such a serum that will help kill zombies, is there a solution? He asked the system. After analyzing all the available information, the system concluded that this serum is ineffective against ordinary people infected with the microchip virus. It is capable of inhibiting the process of mixed mutations infected with black blood. After completing the mutations, they become stronger and scarier than ordinary zombies. They are called mutants. Black blood mutants are a completely different species, at the top of the food chain of their very creation. Liu Feng realized that the serum would only temporarily delay his sister's mutation, and he must not allow her to turn into a monster. Since he now had a network, he decided to call the police. The government should be able to solve the virus problem. But when he went online, he saw a lot of headlines with the title that this viral war, started by the Alliance of Heavenly Blessings, led to the extinction of humanity in the Golden Sphere. Mass mourning was declared throughout the city. The government fell. The number of people infected with a microchip in the city reached 30 million. The military was defeated and retreated to the banks of the river. The real post-apocalypse has begun. Liu Feng didn't know what to do. Should he just watch his sister turn into a monster? He decided to ask the system how he could save Xintong. The system responded that the only way to save his sister was to build the shelter to level 5 in order to unlock and build a vaccine research center. To do this, you need to build a shelter with a capacity of 10,000 people. Liu Feng realized that in order to upgrade the shelter to level 5, he needed to repair everything possible in the area while using the least amount of points, saving them for more important upgrades. First of all, he decided to modernize and restore the ventilation ducts, and if they are not repaired, then in 5 hours those who are in the shelter will experience a lack of oxygen. The ventilation repair was successful. Completing the mission earned him a +2 to his reputation. He was glad because he was right. Modifying something that can be subdued can also complete the system quest. This meant that he could find the same items in reality to complete all the quests quickly and accumulate a lot of points to buy all the blueprints to complete his ascent through the stages of high technology. I realized that he decided to modify and restore everything he could get his hands on, modifying the smoothness of toilet paper, modification of lubricant. After several modifications to the items he found, he decided to ask the system what was wrong with his sister, since it seemed to him that she had memory lapses. Unfortunately, the system did not have enough data to give an accurate result, as some of her intelligence and memory had dropped to the level of a 7-year-old child. But she still remembered Liu Feng as her brother. Angry, Liu Feng crushed the bottle of gel, saying that it didn't matter. As long as he lived, he would find a way to cure Xintong and turn her back into the wonderful girl he knew. At that very moment, his sister woke up and was very surprised to see that there was some kind of mucus on her brother's hand. She said that he was a pervert, and she was disappointed in him. Liu Feng understood that the ideal image of his brother which had been developing for so many years, was destroyed so absurdly, since he could not even explain himself to his sister because she did not want to listen to him. The next day, a new death squad arrived to search for Commander Lee's missing crew. They were very surprised that there was no command signal, but the target signal was still active, and they decided to go down to the hospital.